So on behalf of AI New York State, we're very proud to be part of this important workshop. Since the year 2000, I count 14 storms that have caused significant damage to various areas of New York State. I'm sure there's more. And going back in time, since 1800, 17 storms have caused fatalities. In New York State, our coastal communities are obviously on the front lines. However, inland communities from Long Island through the Hudson Valley, the Finger Lakes, and even all the way west to the Buffalo area have been affected by storms and have sustained significant damage. But, and I've got to emphasize this, none of these storms have hit New York State alone. They invariably hit our region. So what we're doing today here is very important. We're sharing our various effort at recovery from previous storms, and we're preparing as a region for future storms that we know will be hitting. Working together as a region, we can be more effective than any of us can be individually, or even working within the limits of our own individual communities. At AI New York State, we're committed to this, and will continue our support of this significant effort this year and on into the future. So with that, I will leave it and turn it over to Kurt.
Well, certainly, thank you all for coming. It's great to be back here at New York Tech, as Illya stated, as class of 1990, so happy to be home. But it's wonderful to be here and part of such a great group. AIA New Jersey has really made a commitment to sustainability and resilience, and really looking at our communities and designing in a smart way so that these types of things aren't as severe in the future. As Ray stated, I mean, these storms have no boundaries. So this isn't just a Jersey Shore issue where I'm from and where I grew up and where I've known we've been living with a target on our back for years. And until last year, we were very, very lucky that nothing like this has happened, to this extent anyway. But this isn't going to be the last one. It's going to happen again, and we have to be ready. So things like this, and Illya and Justin from AIA New Jersey are doing a fantastic job putting this coalition together, and I love the fact that it's becoming regional and part of AIA, and I look forward to this afternoon's event. So thank you again all for coming. Thank you for having me, and I'm going to turn it over.
My name is Lance Brown. I want to welcome you all here today. I want to thank the people who worked so hard in putting this together. I don't think I could thank them all, and it's probably most people in the room who did one thing, even if you had just getting ready to be here today, just getting here today. But Illya and Justin and Frank and others who really have, pulled a lot of the weight. This workshop is in a tradition, I think, of a new tradition of working together in great cooperation, the tradition that produced the report that you'll find outside. Some 300 people worked on it from parts far and wide in the New York City area, generated by the DFRR and the New York chapter, but with work with 7 other agencies, and now we've broadened this to other components in the region and other collaterals. I guess, I'm not going to read this, but I would hope that as we move forward, the kind of work that was documented there as opportunities can now be documented in what we do as applications and implementation, taking this a step further. I invite you to take a look at that, and I invite you to try and think of ways that what you leave behind can be incorporated into things that can be put up on the web or put out in publications so that the good works and the good thoughts that you have today don't disappear in the ether. And that's one of the dangers of intense workshops. I put together a few slides that just, I think, are reminders of the magnitude of what it is we're involved with. I know we're here with a special focus today But I don't think we can lose sight of the fact that we're part of something much larger. Those of you who saw the front of the New York Times today with the announcement that things look a little bit worse than we thought they were, which I think is a kind of a creeping reality. And then last week with the whole section of the Times devoted to sea level rise, which we think is now incorporated, but it's not an over situation, it's a beginning situation. And I think everything we do today has to include both a response to what's just happened, but also, to the extent we have, the ability to look forward to things that we can't predict, unintended consequences. Some of you may be familiar with this diagram. The black is what used to be the forests of the United States when we all got here, and the bottom is what we've left with it today. Magnitude of change is staggering in terms of what can happen. We all, 100 years of industrialization have changed the face of the earth, and we're going to try to do something and reverse the effects of this. In how much time? I put this up, not because it was produced, because it's cute. But it's produced by a fellow named Ben Berkleby, and Ben Berkleby is the architect who was very much responsible for the reconstruction of Greensburg, Kansas. Greensburg, Kansas has nothing to do with water. Greensburg, Kansas had to do with high wind. We have high water, high wind, high heat, high seismic issues. And I think somehow or other these are all connected, as we know, and I'd like the thinking to be broad in that way. We know that we're dealing with this region, and I can't thank everyone enough for pulling together, my friends, my colleagues who are here. But I really do think it's sea level rise and all risks. It's risk averse zoning and planning, and it's infrastructure vulnerability. All of these things have to be on the table. This is a almost to scale issue, image that I found on the web of these two storms. Katrina was devastating in the south, but in comparison to the coverage, the regional coverage in the north, by magnitude 1,500 miles across, I think we are now fully aware that nature does not respect political boundaries. Us all being here together is critical. I can't thank you enough. And with that, I think we're going to move to the next speaker, who probably needs no introduction. Henk Ovink, who I hope all of you now are familiar with because he's been on the front lines representing our own Department of Housing and Urban Development. Henk is a Dutch government liaison to the Hurricane Sandy Rebuilding Task Force and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. He's the principal of Rebuild Design and the senior advisor for Secretary Sean Donovan of HUD and the Hurricane Sandy Rebuilding Task Force. He leads the Resilience and Rebuilding on Long-Term Innovation efforts for Secretary Donovan. He started, developed, and leads the Rebuild by Design competition, developed to ignite innovation for a new standard of regional resilience. RBD, Rebuild by Design, was named the #1 in CNN's 2013 top most innovative ideas. One of the things that I like about Henk's delivery when he talks is his action-oriented attitude towards what is happening, and hopefully that's what we're going to be seeing in the beginning of April when he unveils some of the results of the RBD program. But for the moment, Henk, all yours. Thank you.